Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio. It's June 11th, 2024. Thanks so much for being with us today. As we're in a period of time where I think only the East Coast schools are still open. I think everybody else is pretty much out. We'll find out in Louisiana. I've got Storm Ridgway here, who is a high school history teacher, soon to be an administrator, at the Delhi Charter School in Delhi, Louisiana. Okay, we'll find out what's going on down there. And he's here with the president of the company that helped make him become a teacher, and that is iteach over at iteach.net. That's Andrew Rozell, and they're both going to be talking about what alternative teaching certification means, how it's working these days, how important it is, which I believe it is, and that's why I wanted to do this show, okay? iteach is making terrific educators out there, filling a gap. We all know there's a tremendous teacher shortage, okay? And we've got to move quickly these days to make things happen, and that's what iteach is doing. Storm is a perfect example of he's a perfect result of what exactly is going on out there, okay? He's doing a good job, and we'll talk to him about all of that today. We're going to archive the show over at ace-ed.org, ace-ed.org, the home website of our consortium for equity in education. That means bringing good teachers to everybody, as well as making sure every kid gets the education they deserve. So I'm really glad they're here today. Go over there, ace-ed.org, see what we do, participate in our Equity Awards program. We got all kinds of information over there. And, of course, all the podcasts are over there as well. So please check it out. We work hard to make that site as important for you as we can. So enjoy it over there. With nothing me blabbing, we're going down to Texas first. Hi there, Andrew. How you doing today? It's Larry.
Good morning, Larry. I'm doing fantastic.
That's good, man. Where are you in Texas?
I'm in a city called Denton, Texas, just north of Dallas.
Just north of Dallas. So a Cowboys fan. I'm from Philadelphia, so I have to end the show now. Just kidding.
Understood.
Storm, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hiya, Storm. I'm Larry. It's nice to meet you.
What's going on, man?
I live up here in Maine, and I had to look up. I know Louisiana pretty well, but I didn't know where Delhi was, and I did look it up, and it's close to Monroe, which I do know. And you're on basically the same latitude as Shreveport, which I've been to many times.
Correct.
So I know
we're
yeah.
We're about 2 hours east of Shreveport down the I-20 corridor. When people ask where Delhi is, we are basically smack dab in the middle between Monroe and Vicksburg.
You actually are. And it's funny you should mention that. You're 2 hours from Shreveport. My brother used to live in Tyler, Texas, and he was 2 hours the other way from Shreveport.
Yeah. Well, actually yesterday I drove to Marshall, Texas. I had some kids at a football recruitment, and Marshall is pretty much right in the middle between Shreveport and Tyler. So,
everything's in the middle between everything else.
That's right.
Okay, but it's good to have you here, my friend, and thank you so much for being here. And school, by the way, I assume is finished down there.
Sir? Yeah. We've been out for a few weeks now. They got out. I think we got out basically the third week the week before Memorial Day. And so our kids are on summer break.
Yeah, and you guys go back early. I'm up here in Maine, and I've always lived up here in the Northeast. And our schools end at the end of June and go back after Labor Day. It's that little odd change in the schedule from the southern schools and a lot of the western schools as well. It's really interesting. Andrew, are the schools out in Texas? I think they are, because I was talking to somebody in Corpus Christi yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, they were out 2 weeks ago for most of the state.
Yeah, it's amazing. And how, by the way, are you guys having a heat wave down there? Or did I misread that?
It's been pretty mild. We've had a lot of rain, actually, recently.
Yeah,
but it's been pretty mild.
Right.
Okay, good.
It's been wet.
And it's coming to Florida, I heard, too. So we'll just stay clear of floods down there. They're brutal. Okay, it really is. Guys, it's a pleasure to have you here. And, Andrew, I want to start this conversation with you. Okay, you're president of iteach, and I want to read this. It's the only alternative teaching certification program That's CAPE certified, which is a certification for the accreditation of education. I lost the phrasing. Hold on. Educator preparation. The Council for the Accreditation of Educator Preparation. Congratulations on that. And I want you to talk about that. Talk about what is alternative teaching certification. I think this is really important. We got a real teacher shortage these days. Talk it up, Andrew. Go ahead.
Yeah, Larry, appreciate the question. So alternative certification in general, and maybe a broad stroke, would be a pathway to earn a teacher licensure for individuals who did not undergrad program for teaching or for education. So iteach serves a unique population of individuals who are not typically recent grads, but are career changers into the field. We do serve recent grads for sure, but generally individuals are coming to our program in their early 30s, late 20s, and shifting out of their career that they might have gone to their undergraduate for. And that CAPE accreditation is we're very proud of it. We're the only non-university to ever have it. And so we have the same third-party accreditation as LSU, University of Texas, University of Florida. All the major traditional routes have CAPE accreditation, usually required by the state. And we decided that we wanted to be on that same level of credibility and rigor. And so we voluntarily entered into the pathway of CAPE accreditation.
Congratulations on that. That's a huge deal. Okay, I really mean that. That's very, very important. And let me ask you this, and Storm, I'm going to get to you in a minute, but I want to ask you this. Then what is the difference? What are you teaching folks like Storm, okay, as opposed to, you're moving people fairly quickly into education, okay? And Storm, I know, was a history, I believe, is a history major, okay? That's pretty much along the way to get become a history teacher, okay? But talk to me. What's the difference between an LSU, since you brought it up, or UT, University of Texas, and iteach? Where's the difference lie? Or what, if there is one? Talk to me.
So from a training contents perspective, because we have the same accreditation from CAPE, the training is going to be very similar. We're going to be taking individuals like Storm, who has a history background, and we're just going to teach them how to teach what they know. So our courses is geared to pedagogical frameworks, stages of learning, special ed, and literacy in the classroom. It's generally around things outside of the specific subject a teacher might be teaching, but rather the method of teaching the subject. Now, we do have methodology courses that help bolster a different content or certification areas, but by and large, what we're doing is streamlining, lowering the barriers for individuals that might not be able to pay college tuition again or drive to a campus, right? Delhi is pretty far drive from a massive or significant university to go to. We enter into that space, and we provide a legitimate option for individuals that have a degree to come get trained to take what they know and allocate it and attribute it into the classroom.
Good stuff, man. I got to tell you. And by the way, thank you for telling me how to pronounce Delhi. I was saying Delhi. Okay, so thank you for doing that. Delhi, Louisiana, right, Storm? Delhi?
Yes, sir. That's very common.
Sorry.
That's very common.
Yeah, and, just what it looks like, Delhi. It's exactly what it looks like.
Well, I mean, that's what, like when I talk to, I talk to people not from the area, they say Delhi, and because, and when I say Delhi school, then it really confuses them because they think it's Dale High, and so it's a common
right.
Yeah,
I got it.
It's very, very common.
True.
So
Delhi, Louisiana. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, and before we get into iteach with you, Storm, you teach at Delhi Charter School, and I think you're about to become a vice principal over there. Am I correct, or somewhere else?
Well. Yeah, previously back in the winter, January, February-ish, there was an administrative opportunity. Since then, I've actually got promoted to head football coach. Yeah, I got and so we've decided that I'm still going to go into an administrative role-ish. The first year, it's just going to be more of a I guess you can say more of an assistant type deal. But I plan on enrolling in the iteach administrative program around Christmas. And so get football season out of the way just for time reasons.
I don't blame you.
So,
it's going to keep you busy with them X's and O's. I got to tell you. Brag a little bit about your school. It is. Talk about your school. Okay, Delhi Charter School.
We're a very unique. Charter schools have really popped off in the past 20 years down here in Louisiana. I believe the Board of Education kind of experimented with them after Katrina because all the schools were basically shut down. So they just kind of saw it as like a ground zero opportunity to basically experiment. And
that's right.
We were one of the first charter schools in the state of Louisiana. We just had our 20-year anniversary type deal. We're a little over 20 years old. We're a K-12, which is also unique. We service a lot of kids, not just in Delhi, but in the surrounding areas. We're in the Mississippi Delta, so you're talking about a lot of low-income situations. And we, in some of the traditional public schools. And
some of the best music in the world, by the way.
100%, man, 100%. Don't get no better. Some of the best food and music right here. And, so we service kids that come from homes and come from situations educationally that are not the best. And so, for lack of better words, we kind of offer the benefits of a private school. And I really hate to say that because we don't operate like a private school. But the benefits of the private school, we get smaller classes, all our teachers are certified and highly qualified, and we offer an unreal amount of elective type stuff. I mean, a kid comes to us, he gets to high school, he's going to graduate basically as a sophomore in college. And if going to college is not an option for him, because State of Louisiana also offers a jump start. It's called the jump start course or strategy plan, where a kid, if he's not going to go to college, which is a lot of the population, we're going to put him in welding classes and electrician classes and plumber and to prepare them for a trade, so when they graduate, they can go right into the job force.
I'll make the joke. They get to be a welder, they get to be an electrician, and they can go right into the job force and make twice as much as if they went to college. It's unbelievable these days.
We've got a kid, I'm telling you, we've got a kid right now. He's a phenomenal welder. He already has a job. He just has to get the diploma. Once he gets the diploma, he's got a job lined up, and he's going to go off and make $100,000 a year doing
Darn right he is. Darn right he is, and he deserves it. And all those kids, and nothing against college, please don't misunderstand. But I'll tell you, I always say this: schools have literally lost their way a little bit over the past 40 years. Okay, and we forgot how important the vocational trades are, if I may say that. Okay, CTE, career education these days. Okay, so try to find a plumber, an electrician, or a welder. Okay, you can't do it. Okay, and I'm so happy to hear that schools are doing this. I mean, it's that simple. Nothing against college, as I said, but boy, we let it go, and we got to get that back. And I just think it's really, really important these days. So talk to me, Storm, and I'll get back to you in a few minutes, Andrew. I want to ask Storm. Storm, you were a history major, if I'm not mistaken, from college.
Correct.
Okay, and by the way, I was a social studies teacher. So if you're not going to be a teacher, you're not going to do much with a history degree. Okay,
that's right.
And I love history. Please don't misunderstand. I adore history and I love teaching social studies. But if you're not going to use it, although it's important to have the knowledge, you're not going to use it as a profession. So you're married, etc. What made you decide to become a teacher? Okay. And then why I teach, and what did you learn? This is the key question. What did you learn at I Teach? Okay. Okay, that made it. You are a good teacher.
Story.
Talk about that. Yeah, go ahead. Go.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you the whole story. I've actually wanted to get an education since I was very rare in the 7th grade. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a high school football and baseball coach. And so I graduated high school, go to college. I started out as. By the way,
where'd you go to college? Where'd you go?
ULM, University of Louisiana Monroe.
Well, did you play FAU? You must have played. You must have played football.
I did not play. I was not that talented. That's why I coach.
Okay, coach.
But yeah, FAU was in our conference.
Yeah, it was. I went to games when I used to live in Florida. I used to go to FAU Monroe games. Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
And so I go to ULM. I'm secondary social studies, 7 through 12, taking the traditional route, and I get a year or so into the program, and I started noticing that I wasn't taking social history classes. I was taking more education classes, and which is, obviously that is the way of doing it. However, I'm sitting here like, I love history. Like, I want to teach history because I love it. And ULM had just kind of started their alternative certification. It was called Teach Delta. And I had a friend of mine who graduated with a psychology degree. And then right before graduation, he just decided he did not want to do what he was doing. He just wanted to be a teacher. And so he enrolled in that program and really liked it. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to swap over to history so I can take more history classes. Also, I don't know how it is in the rest of the country, but if you go through a traditional educational pathway as far as your degree, your schedule is pretty locked in. Like, you have to be in your student teaching by a certain time. If you don't get in by a certain time, then you got to wait like a whole year. You just can't jump in the middle of a school year, obviously. And so I didn't like how it was structured per se. I didn't like that, and I wanted to kind of take classes at my own pace and I wanted to go to summer school, and I was really trying to graduate early, and then the traditional route just didn't offer that for me. And so I graduate with a history degree, and now I graduated high school in 2008. And to kind of go back for a second, the whole thing about the trade school, well, when I was in school, it was basically either you go to college or you're going to be a loser. And that was kind of how the education, the teachers and stuff were painting all this stuff. And so, but anyway, so I graduated. I graduated college with a history degree. And I get hired, well, I could not get hired immediately because I was not certified. And so I'm moving right along, trying to get a job. I'm a statistic at this point. I graduate college and don't have a job. And so I'm working a college type of job for the first couple of months, and I'm about to get married. My wife's already in education. And she also went through the alternative certification. She didn't go through iteach, but she went through the alternative certification. She graduated with a business degree and decided that she no longer wanted to work. And, she was managing a retail store here locally, and she decided that's not what she wanted to do for the next 30 years. And so she jumped in education. So we're engaged and everything. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of feel like a loser because my wife, she's the one paying all the bills, and I'm just up here bagging groceries, And so I get hired at Christmas. I got lucky. There was an opening. I got hired at Christmas, and, kind of on a temporary deal, I would get certified. Well, I had another friend of mine who had just started with iteach, and he was talking about it, and I kind of looked into it. At this point, iteach was probably a baby, Andrew. I mean, he could probably back me on this. This was 2013.
What year are we talking about? What are we talking about, 2010?
We're talking about 2012, 13.
Okay. Yeah, we were approved in 2011.
Yeah, so
you were a baby. Yeah, you were a baby.
Right. It was a very new program. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of people were like, "That's kind of sketchy." A lot of people didn't really believe in it because it didn't have a reputation yet, and some school systems weren't really even accepting it yet. That's how new it was.
That's right.
And so I jumped head first because I was more or less desperate, trying to finance my family, and I said, you know what, I'm going all in on this. And I joined iteach, and I was done in a year. Passed my, I got enrolled in the program. I was actually done with the coursework almost during that summer. That's what I love about iteach. It doesn't hold you back. It allows you to move at a very quick pace. And so I was done with my coursework basically when school started. And so I went through my observations. My observer was absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if she's no longer. I don't know if she's still with iteach, and that's Nan Geis. She was a former supervisor for Ouachita Parish Schools, which is kind of the beacon of our school system. They're the heart of it. They're the bigger system around here. And she was a retired supervisor. And I think she got bored and just kind of wanted the job, and she got hooked up with iteach. And I'm going to tell you, when she stepped in my classroom and she started meeting with me, she did a phenomenal job of growing me as an educator. She not only observed me and taught me based off the iteach, she taught me based off the Louisiana compass observation. So I basically got two observations for her. She would observe me on the iteach scale, and then she would observe me on the compass scale. And that year, I had one of the highest teacher observations through compass for the school. I think I scored like a 3.8. So she went above and beyond for me, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one she did that for. And so, you know, that's my story with iteach. You know, you asked me what did I learn. I learned a lot, and you know, I learned the psychology side of it. I learned how to manage a classroom. You know, but I didn't learn that necessarily, quote unquote, from the courses. While those courses were great, I learned it because I was in the trenches, and I had constant resource of iteach and with Miss Geis, and it was unlimited access because they genuinely want you to be successful. Especially during these days, because again, iteach was starting to build a reputation.
Of course,
and because it's just like, hey, there's a program that don't require you to. It's not an actual school. It's not a master's degree. This don't seem right. And yeah, so the reputation was building, and you know, and iteach did a phenomenal job. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. And I'm a proud iteach alum. Since then, I mean, obviously, at our school alone, I have 3 coaches that are in iteach.
That's great.
I recommend this program to anyone all the time. I think the biggest benefit to iteach as opposed to some of these other, the more traditional, this is going to sound weird, but the more traditional alternative certifications is the fact that they cut to the chase. They get you in, they teach you what you need to know, and they get you out, you're a certified teacher.
That's what they teach you what you need to know, and the rest it has to be done on site. You said it before, in the trenches. Okay, this is a profession, like most professions. You have to get in there and do it. Okay.
Right, and that's the thing is that, you know, the biggest benefit to iteach as opposed to, say, the traditional route is that if I went the traditional route, I was going to have to student teach for free at a school.
Exactly.
And you know, and and you don't even, a lot of times you don't get to choose the school you get sent to. And so with iteach, I could start teaching, get paid, and that's the big deal, is I could get paid, and I could basically go to the school that I wanted to go to, you know, that fit me, it fit my character, my personality.
It worked, and it did. You have a great personality, by the way, to get this. That's a great story. Okay, so let me ask 2 questions. Is Miss Geis, is she still there, Andrew? She's still working with you guys?
Yeah, Nan Geis is still with us.
So she's something. I hope you play this thing for her. I'll send it to you later today, and I hope you play this for her so she can hear those kudos. You know,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it'd be really good. And now talk to me about Storm's experience. Okay, when they're in iteach, I assume a lot of it is online, but you have people everywhere. And the other thing is, you guys are in Louisiana and Texas, 2 neighboring states. If I'm here in Maine, can I use iteach? Talk about its, if there is one, its national reach, A, or where it reaches, and B, what is it like when you go through it? Is it all online? How much are you dealing with people like this guys, et cetera, et cetera? Andrew.
Yeah, so that's a good question. Because of the state education policies, we have to be approved by each state to operate. We have the national accreditation, but we have to be approved by each DOE. We are launching our 14th next week.
That's a lot.
And we currently are not in Maine, but we do operate in 14 other states. week. And
where are they? I know you don't have to name them, but are they mostly around Texas North, obviously, or what is it?
I usually say colloquially SEC countries. So we have Florida,
there you go.
Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, a lot of the SEC land.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, and then the actual process is, Storm articulated really well. It's bifurcated into two things. We have the theoretical knowledge that's online learning. It's asynchronous. You go through Canvas, you learn the theoretical, but then you need to get in the classroom and actually be a practitioner of it. And during that time, we have someone like Nan Geis come into the classroom to help support the teacher throughout the year. And so they have instructors for the theoretical pedagogical knowledge, and then they have a field supervisor that's assigned to them.
Wow.
That's with them for the school year. And then this year, we piloted it last year in Texas, but this fall, we will roll out to all 14 states an instructional coaching program. So someone like Storm, if they were to get hired this fall in history, not only would have an instructor for the online platform, a supervisor coming to the class, but then there'll be small subject-specific cohorts where individuals can relate to other people going through that exact class, like history. So in this case, hypothetically, Storm could log in once a week to have a subject matter expert in history talking with other people in the state of Louisiana teaching history, to have like a cohort and a peer structure to lean into. It's like, hey, next week we're going to be going over this topic, anything we should be aware of and pitfalls or strategies. And so this year we'll add a third layer of support with instructional coaches across all 14 states.
That's really great. And let me ask this. Storm wanted to be a history teacher, but he mentioned somebody else who was wanted to be a psychologist, major in psychology, whatever, and then became a teacher. So when you're talking about teachers, kind of a generic term, but there's social studies teachers, there's math teachers, there's ELA teachers, etc. How do you separate that with an iteach program? Does iteach somebody to be a math teacher, or do they just teach them to be a teacher? Maybe that's the way I want to ask it, but I think you know what I mean. How does that work?
I do, yeah. So the foundational coursework is agnostic of the subject teaching. So there's premises that all teachers should know, regardless if they're teaching history or if they're teaching math. But once we understand the content the person's tracking towards, so in Storm's case, it's history, we identified that, or he identified that to us by passing a state-approved examination. For Storm, he passed an exam called the Praxis exam. That way, the state knows, the principal knows, we know that he knows his stuff. He knows history. We just need to be able to train him to go teach history. So the online courses primarily are not specific to this subject, but once you're a practitioner in the classroom, the supervision and now the instructional coaches is geared more to the subject teaching, where there can be more formative feedback around specific lessons, content, standards, domains that implement once they're a practitioner in the field. Before then, it's more general pedagogical training.
That's cool. And, I read on your website, again, it's iteach.net, okay? And I read, hold on, I can go over there in a second. Wait a minute. Okay? It says, our alternative certification program enables you to be successfully teaching with full pay in as little as 8 weeks. Is that really 8 weeks?
I mean, it can happen. It depends on when an individual enrolls. So if someone was to enroll today on June 11th, they can be teaching this fall, 100%. They don't have to have all of the coursework done. There's prerequisites that teachers have to know when they get in the classroom. That's required. But there's also some things like that we can play out as they're teaching. So in some cases, individuals can be teaching and completing courses at the same time. Storm said he was able to get most of it done over the summer. We have individuals that have been going through the coursework for a couple months, and they'll have a longer lead time that obviously would be longer than 8 weeks for them. But the way the program's structured, we can absolutely get someone in, get the necessary baseline training and the test passed in order for them to be teaching very quickly.
Right. And
I can kind of build on that.
Go ahead.
So with my situation, my personal situation, and this is no lie. I leave an interview. So I was at one school, and I was technically uncertified. I was just operating under a temporary certificate based off my degree. And so I leave school A. I was an assistant baseball coach at school A. I go to school B and do an interview for the baseball job, and, you know, they tell me after the interview, Storm, this job is yours if you're a certified teacher. And I said, well, I'm already enrolled in the iteach program, but I hadn't done the prereq stuff like Andrew was talking about, which I believe back then it was just 2 courses you had to do to get the prereqs. And so I left the interview. I told them, I said, I'll be done by next week. And so I leave the interview, and I stop off at a church. There's a church right by the school. I email Andrew, tell him basically the story of it. They fast-tracked me into I'm enrolled in the course the next day. And and like at that time you can move at like a 10-day pace, I believe, to complete each class. And so I knocked out that first class. They gave me my plan of study. I interviewed on a Tuesday. By Friday, I was officially enrolled in the program. The LDOE had my paperwork that says, hey, he's in a program. I emailed it to the principal, and that Monday I accept the job. So that shows you how fast it moves.
And it has to move fast these days. It has
100%,
to move fast for a lot of reasons. Okay, for a lot of reasons.
Another benefit.
Yeah, go ahead.
But another benefit to talking about the timing of this is that like in a more traditional alternative cert, so like through a master's program, say ULM or LSU or whomever, because everyone's got one now, and I couldn't even enroll till August because that's just the way the semester started.
Good point. Great point.
And but we're talking the last week of school basically, and I'm enrolled, you know, and so it gave me the summer. It gave me 2.5 months where I didn't have to worry about teaching, where I could focus strictly on the coursework. I dedicated an hour every night, and I just went through the coursework. And come August, I was done with my homework, quote unquote. It was just now my internship and the teaching, the field experience.
And I have to ask this, and I think this is an Andrew question. Andrew, are you all? I have to say this the right way. I'm going to let you explain it better. Storm is going, and he wants to go back to iteach to start his master's program. But how does that fit in with iteach? Bachelor's, master's. You're not offering degrees. You're offering certification. Okay, talk to me about starting a master's program, however you want to phrase that. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Andrew.
for sure. So in the 14 states we operate initial teacher licensure. In Texas and Louisiana, we are approved by the Departments of Ed to offer an administrator or principal license. In Louisiana, our route is actually does not require a graduate degree. And so individuals with an undergraduate degree and at least 3 years of teaching service can come to our program, and we would provide them a certificate to be, in Louisiana, called an educational leader.
Good.
And so Texas does require a graduate degree to become a principal, but we do operate a principal program in Louisiana without the master's degree. We do have a partnership with the American College of Education. So anyone who goes through our program is awarded up to 12 hours towards a master's. So embedded in our low-cost program already is about a third of a master's degree if anyone wanted to continue to earn a degree after coming to us.
That is cool. And what's next on the agenda? Are you just going to add more states? You got 14. Are you moving north? Are you moving north or west? Good way to answer.
We have some northern states in the docket. We've actually submitted our application in the state of New Jersey.
Cool.
But I think not only is there expansion in the horizon, I think as seen by the instructional coaches, I think there's more support we can provide teaching. We are in the business of elevating the teaching profession, among other things. We want teachers to be celebrated. And in order to do that, it's not just about blowing and going. It's about understanding how we can support teachers through the first couple of years in the classroom. And so as much as my focus on President is growth, it's equally about increasing support and trust and effective teaching.
I think it's wonderful. And we have to go, but I have to ask Storm one question. Storm, hey, what's the name of the team at Delhi Charter School? What's the mascot?
We are well, it's going to be funny. We're the Delhi Charter Gators, where you look just like Florida. We're royal and orange. We have the gator head, the gator chomp. Our stadium's called the Swamp. It's
wow.
You know,
Why? What's the Florida connection?
Okay,
what is the Florida connection?
Okay, so whenever the school opened, they picked a mascot. Urban Meyer had Florida rolling during that time. And so Florida was one of the best teams in the country. You got Tim Tebow mania everywhere. And so it's funny that they opened a school in Louisiana, which is the heart of LSU country.
Yeah, it is.
Everybody in this state loves LSU athletics. They live and die on it. And
I know.
We were arbitrary and named our school the Gators.
The Gators, okay. And how are they going to do this year, Coach? How's the football team going to do?
Man, we're excited. I think we got shocked to surprise some people. We're moving up in classification, going up into a bigger enrollment wise, and it's going to be 3 of our teams in our district are probably 3 of the best in the state. So we're going to find out how good we are, and I think we can play with them. Wow,
it's going to be great. And I assume you play the public schools, right? You play the public. Oh, you are a public school.
Yeah,
but
I'm a public school guy, man.
You are public.
I'm
I know
a public
that.
school guy.
I know. You're a charter school, but you're a public school. I know that.
Right.
Okay.
Right,
sorry,
right.
I gave that wrong impression.
Yeah, we're a public school. We're funded through the MFP, and we're kind of hybrid. Like the charter school is a whole different conversation, but we're funded through the state of Louisiana
and cool. I like
strictly
charter.
through the MFP money.
I like charters. I like what they do, and educate. I have to say it this way: not all charters work, but most of them do. I like charters, okay, and not all public schools work either. Regular public schools, okay. So I get it, all right. But I like charters because, if I may, they gave education a good swift kick in the behind. They started something and they making it work.
It's progressive. It was very progressive.
I have a lot of respect for charter schools all across the country, what they've done for teachers, et cetera, et cetera. I think this is great. Andrew, you developed a nice company there. It's really good. Good stuff.
I appreciate it. It's enjoyable work.
Yeah, you're working hard, and it's working, and it is what's needed. iteach.net. I do have it linked up here. Storm, continued good luck, my friend. Have a great season. Okay.
Hey man, I appreciate you guys having me on.
And I appreciate you being here. Okay. Thanks for all you guys do. Okay. Take care, gentlemen. Have a good one. Stay cool.
Thank you, Larry.
Okay, guys.
Yes,
stay cool and dry. Okay. Bye, guys.
All right. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, everybody. Wow, good stuff. Okay, Storm is great. He's at Delhi Charter School in Delhi, Louisiana, east of Monroe, west of Vicksburg, Mississippi. Okay, I learned that today. All right, and I learned how to pronounce Delhi. Okay, and Andrew Rozell is the president of iteach. Learn more about it. Learn more about it if you're a teacher. Learn more about it if you've got somebody in college who wants to be a teacher, or a friend, or someone who wants to be a teacher. Learn more about it if you're an administrator and need teachers. Okay, it's that important. They're in 14 states now, but growing. You heard it, okay? It's iteach.net. It's interesting stuff. A world of change in education. We're going to archive the show at ace-ed.org. I'm Larry Jacobs. Thanks so much for listening. Have a good day.